Trivia about history you'll regret not knowing: Napoleon wasn't actually short. Napoleon Bonaparte has long been known to be short, but in fact he was about 169 centimeters tall, which was roughly the average height of a French man at the time. The misunderstanding comes from the fact that his height was recorded in French feet. Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian. Cleopatra VII is known as the last queen of ancient Egypt, but she was actually from the Greek Ptolemy dynasty. She was of Macedonian descent and spoke Egyptian, but she was not ethnically Egyptian. The cause of Alexander the Great's death remains a mystery. Alexander the Great died suddenly at the young age of 32, but the cause of his death has yet to be determined. There are various theories, including malaria, poisoning, and autoimmune disease, but no conclusive evidence has been found. The date on which the American Declaration of Independence was signed was not July 4th. Although the American Independence Day is July 4th, the Declaration of Independence was actually signed later, on August 2nd. July 4th is the day the Declaration of Independence was adopted. The Roman Empire had sponge sticks in public toilets. In ancient Rome, sponges called tersorium were used in public toilets instead of modern toilet paper. These were sponges attached to the end of a stick, which were washed with water after use and reused. Marie Antoinette did not say, "If there is no bread, eat cake." This famous line is widely known as the words of Marie Antoinette, but it is actually the words of an unnamed princess, who appears in the writings of 18th century philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The shortest-lived American president died after 1 month in office. The 9th American president, Harrison, died of pneumonia just 31 days after taking office. It is believed that the cause was that his inaugural address lasted more than 2 hours and was delivered without a coat in the cold. During the Meiji period, Japan was written in the Roman alphabet as Nihon. Currently, the English spelling of Japan is Japan, but during the Meiji period, it was written in the Roman alphabet as Nihon or Nippon on international documents and passports. This was intended to make Japan's unique national name known to the world. Ninjas wore farmers' clothes rather than black costumes. In fiction, ninjas are often seen wearing black costumes, but in reality they infiltrated and conducted espionage activities in farmer or merchant clothes to avoid being noticed. The image of them wearing black costumes was created by the direction of a stage play. Beethoven continued to compose even after he lost his hearing. Ludwig van Beethoven, one of the most famous composers in music history, lost his hearing in his late 30s, but still composed many masterpieces, including symphonies. He is said to have composed based on auditory memory and theory. The Mongol Empire's postal system was astounding. Genghis Khan established a communication network called YAM to govern the vast Mongol Empire efficiently. This was like a relay race, with relay points set up every few hundred kilometers, making it possible to transmit information several hundred kilometers per day. Elizabeth I was the Virgin Queen who remained single her whole life. Queen Elizabeth I of England remained single her whole life, claiming to have married the state. For this reason, the American state of Virginia was named after her nickname. In ancient Greece, people could be banished by voting. In Athens, there was a system called ostracismos, in which citizens wrote the names of politicians on pieces of pottery and voted, and the person who received the most votes was banished from Athens for 10 years. This system was intended to prevent the concentration of power. Hitler was subjected to a poison gas attack in World War I. Adolf Hitler served as a German soldier during World War I, and was temporarily blinded by a poison gas attack. This is said to be one of the events that influenced his political thought after the war. China's imperial examination system lasted for over 1,300 years. The Chinese imperial examination system, which began in the Sui dynasty and continued until the end of the Qing dynasty, was conducted for about 1,300 years as an examination for the promotion of bureaucrats. The exam mainly consisted of memorization and interpretation of Confucian scriptures, and the pass rate was very low, with hundreds of thousands of people taking the exam and only a few dozen passing. The last Russian emperor, Nicholas II, loved photography. The last emperor of the Romanov dynasty, Nicholas II, was a photography and camera enthusiast. Although his political abilities were questionable, many private photos of his family remain, and have been used as material for recent research and dramas. Joan of Arc was executed at the age of 19. Joan of Arc, considered a French hero, led the French army in the 100 Years' War, claiming to have received a divine revelation, but was burned at the stake as a heretic and died at the age of just 19. The Catholic Church later recognized her innocence and made her a saint. Leonardo da Vinci's reputation only grew 300 years after his death. Da Vinci was an accomplished artist during his lifetime, but his research on anatomy and engineering was rediscovered about 300 years after his death, establishing his reputation as a genius. Until then, many of his notebooks had remained unpublished. The term Spartan education comes from ancient Sparta. What we refer to as Spartan education in modern Japan comes from the strict military training of the Spartan city-state in ancient Greece. In Sparta, the state took care of boys from the age of 7 and imposed strict discipline and physical training on them.